Applied Linguistics Group uploaded this video. Dr. Khalid Malik, the founder, has a PhD in Applied Linguistics TESOL. He taught at many foreign universities with 25 research papers, 6 books on linguistics, and has a postdoc fellowship abroad. Join Applied Linguistics Group at youtube.com/@1966 Pakistani, or use a QR code to join our Facebook group at IELTS Speaking Interview. When helping students prepare for the IELTS test, one of the biggest fears is how to do well in IELTS speaking. IELTS speaking is a face-to-face, informal discussion with an IELTS examiner, and is the same for both academic and general training. The test is divided into 3 parts and is designed to test your pronunciation, fluency, grammar, and vocabulary. IELTS Speaking Test. In this IELTS speaking sample, you'll learn exactly what the examiner needs to see to award you a Band 8 in the IELTS speaking test. Top 5 IELTS speaking tips. Speak some English every day. It is better to practice a little bit every day, and improve your skills gradually than to speak your native language all week until you have an IELTS class. You'll find more advice for IELTS speaking practice here. Ask the examiner questions if you don't understand. Your IELTS speaking test is meant to be like a normal conversation between 2 people. Therefore, if you don't understand a word, you can ask the examiner to explain what it means. Just say, "I'm sorry, could you explain what X means?" You can also ask them to repeat the question. However, you can't ask the examiner to explain the whole sentence. Here's what to do if you get an unfamiliar topic in your IELTS speaking test. Do a 24-hour English warm-up. It takes most IELTS students 10 to 15 minutes to warm up and perform to the best of their ability on test day. Just like an athlete needs to warm up before a sporting event, you also need to warm up before your IELTS exam. Therefore, you should speak, write, read, and listen to English for 24 hours before your IELTS speaking test. Your family and friends might think you are crazy, but it will greatly affect your score. Give full answers. Yes and no are not satisfactory answers in your IELTS speaking test. You need to show the examiner how good your English is. If you give very short answers, there is no way the examiner can know how good you are. Therefore, you should try to extend your answers with explanations and examples. Correct your mistakes. People make small mistakes when they speak all the time, especially when they are nervous about an exam. Correcting your mistakes as you make them can show the examiner that you really do know your grammar and vocabulary. When you make a small mistake, say sorry and repeat the sentence correctly. The examiner will ask you familiar, everyday questions about your life. This will last around 4 to 5 minutes. See the links below for tips, sample questions, and answers for Part 1. Part 1 Common Topics and Sample Answers. This article will give you a strong idea of what to expect on test day. Easy ways to extend your answers. Simple yet effective ways to extend your answers in Part 1 of the speaking test. Part 1 Do's and Don'ts. 10 quick tips on what you should and shouldn't do in Part 1. Image, IELTS Speaking, Part 1-1024x454. IELTS Speaking Part 2. Part 2 is sometimes called the long turn. You will be given a cue card, and you will have 1 minute to prepare your answer. You will then be asked to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Below you'll find advice that I give to all of my speaking classes and a strong sample answer for Part 2. Speaking Part 2 Tips. Advice for getting the score you need in IELTS Speaking Part 2. IELTS Speaking Part 3. Part 3 is more abstract. This is your opportunity to really develop your answers and discuss the issues brought up by the examiner. The topic will be linked to the topic you discussed in Part 2, which will last 4 to 5 minutes. The most common IELTS Speaking Part 3 mistakes. How can you avoid the most common mistakes students make in IELTS speaking? IELTS Speaking Practice. There are many ways that you can practice your speaking. The most important things to remember are: it is better to practice on your own than not practice at all. Don't let the lack of a partner stop you from practicing. There are thousands of ways to practice with a partner online. Focus on the 4 marking criteria. Everything else is irrelevant. Be a reflective learner. Record your practice sessions and honestly appraise your performance. Practicing for the sake of it will not help. You need to identify your weaknesses and take action to improve those shortcomings. This article will show you how to practice on your own, find other people to practice with, and find an IELTS expert to help you with your speaking. IELTS Speaking Practice. There are lots of real practice questions out there. You must use these before your test to give you an idea of what to expect on test day. There are 4 parts to the IELTS speaking marking criteria. Pronunciation, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, fluency and coherence. You'll find help with each part of the IELTS speaking marking scheme below. Pronunciation. I believe that pronunciation is the most important skill to master in the IELTS speaking test. Quite simply, without clear pronunciation, it doesn't matter how good your fluency, grammar, or vocabulary are. If the examiner can't understand what you're actually saying, you will struggle in all areas. Vocabulary, aka lexical resource. Vocabulary is probably the most misunderstood area of the whole test. Most students think that learning lists of high-level words or idioms will get them the necessary score. In fact, it's probably the best way to lower your score. You should use vocabulary as a tool to help you communicate clearly, not to show off. IELTS vocabulary. IELTS idioms. 7 ways idioms can lower your score. Fluency. Fluency is a tricky area because it is connected to grammar, vocabulary, and confidence. Luckily, I believe that it is the area that can be fixed quite easily. 7 IELTS fluency problems and how to fix them. Grammar. For improvement in grammar, you can start Fundamental English Grammar by Raymond Murphy. IELTS speaking topics. In Part 1 of the test, you'll likely be asked about familiar topics, such as your job or studies, your hometown, your family, your home, your likes and dislikes. That does not mean that you should prepare memorized answers for these topics. The examiner will know exactly what you're doing and could lower your score. In Parts 2 and 3, it is impossible to predict which topics will come up. I conducted extensive research on this, and you can see the results here. IELTS Speaking Topics, the Ultimate Guide. IELTS Speaking Help. 5 ways to improve your IELTS speaking preparation. Find out how you can improve your IELTS speaking preparation by following the advice from students who scored a Band 7 plus in their IELTS speaking test. Is accent important? This article will explain the reasons why your accent won't affect your IELTS speaking score, and what you should focus your time on instead. How to talk about an unfamiliar topic. It's common for people to worry about getting an unfamiliar topic on the IELTS speaking exam. However, this article will outline why this shouldn't be your priority and what to do if you receive a topic you know little about. Asking the examiner questions. Is it okay to ask the examiner questions? There are only 2 that you can ask him or her. The above article shows you how. Examiner approved IELTS speaking tips. I don't believe in quick fixes, and tips are just that. These tips are useful if you need a quick guide, but do realize that you need more than just tips. How to prepare for IELTS speaking. The above article will help you take a strategic approach to your preparation for your speaking test.
Exercise. Do you do much exercise? Do you do more exercise now than when you were a child? Do people in your country do a lot of exercise? What do you think is the best exercise to keep fit? Have the types of exercise people like to do changed since you were a child? Family and housework. How many people are there in your immediate family? Who do you get on best with in your family? Do you have a large extended family? What do you do together with your family? Why is family important to you? Do you do housework at home? What kind of housework do you often do? Did you do housework when you were a child? Do you think that children should do housework? Do you all live in the same house? Who is your favorite family member? Do you have a large family or a small family? Can you tell me something about your family members? How much time do you manage to spend with members of your family? Do you get on well with your family? Why? Flowers. Have you ever given anybody flowers? Is it popular to give flowers to people in your country? On what special occasions do people give flowers in your country? What kinds of flowers would you like to receive as a present? Friends. Do you have a lot of friends? Who is your best friend and why? Who would you most like to be friends with and why? What kind of person can you make friends with easily? Which is more important to you, friends or family? Food. Do you enjoy cooking? What type of things can you cook? What kinds of food are popular in your country? Is it an important part of your culture to have dinner parties? Do you prefer to eat with other people or on your own? Do you have a healthy diet? Do you prefer eating at home or eating out? Do you like ordering food to be delivered? Who do you get food delivered with? Do you eat meals differently now compared to when you were little? Gift and noise. Do you mind noises? What types of noise do you come across in your daily life? Are there any sounds that you like? Where can you hear loud noises? Do you think there's too much noise in modern society? Are cities becoming noisier? When do you send gifts? When was the last time you received a gift? Have you received a gift you didn't like? How do you feel when you receive a gift? Do people in your country send gifts to show their generosity? High school. Who was your favorite teacher in high school? What was your favorite subject in high school? Do you still remember what happened on your first day of high school? Do you still keep in touch with your friends from high school? Do you miss your life in high school? Home. Who do you live with? What is your favorite room in your home? How is your home decorated? Do you like visitors coming to your home? Hometown. Where is your hometown? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Is there any way your hometown could be made better? How important is your hometown to you? Can you tell me about your hometown? How has your hometown changed over the years? Do you think you will continue to live in your hometown? How often do you visit your hometown? How many people live in your hometown? What kind of jobs do the people in your hometown do? What is your hometown famous for? What's the oldest part of your hometown? Humor. What type of programs do you find funny on TV? Which types of programs are most popular in your country? What kind of things make you laugh? Do you like to make people laugh? Indoor activities and transportation. Do you prefer public transportation or private transportation? What are the most popular means of transportation in your hometown? Is it easy to catch a bus in your country? Is driving to work popular in your country? What do you think will become the most popular means of transportation in your country? Do you like indoor activities? What indoor activities do you like? How much time do you spend indoors every week? What types of indoor activities are popular in your country? Internet. How important is the internet to you? Do you use the internet more for work or in your free time? What are your favorite websites? Do you think you use the internet too much? How will the internet develop in the future? What are the positive and negative things about the internet? Lifestyle. What do you do in your free time? Do you have a busy social life? Do you lead an active life? Has your life changed much in the last year? What would you like to change about your lifestyle? What type of activities do you like to do in your free time? How long have you been interested in these activities? Do you like to do these activities alone or with other people? Why? Do you think people have enough free time? Major. Do you work or study? What is your major? Or what was your major? Did you or do you like it? Is it a popular major at your university? Why did you choose that major? What is the most difficult part of studying that subject? Do you plan to use the subject you are studying in the future? If you could change to another major, what would it be? Would you change it if you had the chance? Mobile phones. Do you have a mobile phone? At what age did you first get a mobile? What do you most use it for? Is it a nuisance if people use mobiles in public places such as trains and buses? Movies. How often do you go to the cinema? Are cinema tickets expensive in your country? What are the advantages of seeing a film at the cinema? Do you usually watch films alone or with others? Which actor would you like to play you in a film? Museums. Are museums popular in your country? Did you visit museums when you were a child? Do you like to visit museums nowadays? Do you think you should pay to visit museums? Music. How do you listen to music? When do you listen to music? What's your favorite kind of music? Is music an important subject at school in your country? What kinds of music are most popular in your country? Do you like to listen to live music? Is live music popular in your country? Have you ever been to a concert before? Or have you ever been to a musical performance? How much time do you spend listening to music every day? Are your music tastes varied? What is your favorite song? Do you like to sing along to your favorite songs? Are you learning to play a musical instrument at the moment? Musical instruments. Do you think it's important for children to learn to play a musical instrument? Do children have to learn to play a musical instrument at school in your country? Have you ever learned to play a musical instrument? What do you think is the best age to start learning to play a musical instrument? What do you think would be the most difficult musical instrument to learn to play? Do you think it is important to have a sense of humor? Why? Neighbors. Do you know the people who live next door to you? How often do you see each other? What kind of relationship do you have? How can neighbors be helpful? What kind of problems can people have with their neighbors in a big city? Newspaper and magazine. Which do you prefer reading, newspapers or magazines? What type of stories do you like to read about? Do you think reading a magazine or a newspaper can help you learn a language? Why do you think some people prefer magazines to newspapers? Do you often read newspapers? Do you prefer to read local news or international news? Which is more popular where you live, newspapers or magazines? Do many people today read newspapers? In the future, do you think more people than today will read magazines or fewer people? Do you think newspapers will be very important to you in the future? Outdoor activities. Do you like outdoor activities? What outdoor sports do you like? How much time do you spend outdoors every week? What types of outdoor activities are popular in your country? Patience and politeness. What do you think patience is? Do you think patience is important? Do you think you are a patient person? Have you ever lost your patience? Are you a polite person? Who taught you to be polite? Is it important to be polite? What do you do if others are not polite to you? Public transport. What kinds of public transport do you have in your country? What kinds of public transport do most people use? What is your favorite type of public transport? What do you do when you are traveling on public transport? How could public transport in your country be improved? Seasons. What is your favorite season? Tell me about the different seasons in your country. How do the clothes people wear in your country change with the seasons? Do any types of jobs people do in your country change with the seasons? Is tourism popular in a particular season in your country? What season, or weather, do you think is most suitable for work and or study? Sports. Do you play any sports? Do you watch sports on TV? What is the most popular sport in your country? How do people in your country stay fit? Is it important for children to play sports? Is there a lot of sports on television in your country? What sports do children normally do at school? Do you think people do enough sport these days? The internet. Do you use the internet? Are children allowed to use the internet at school in your country? Do you think that the internet is useful for study? Have you ever used the internet to buy something? Are there any dangers in buying things online? The sea. Do you like to go on holiday by sea? Are there many hotels by the sea in your country? What kind of activities can people do by the sea? How long do people normally visit the sea when they go on holiday? Timing. Is being late acceptable in your culture? Are you ever late for appointments? What type of excuses do you think are alright for lateness? How do you feel when someone is late for an appointment with you? Travel. Where was the last place you visited on holiday? Would you like to go back there again? What kind of tourist destinations do you usually prefer? Has a foreign visitor ever stayed at your home? What's the best way to save money while traveling? Trees. Do you like trees? Are there many trees in your hometown? Do you think there are enough trees in most cities? What are the benefits of planting more trees? TV. Do you like watching TV? How often do you watch TV? What kind of TV programs do you like to watch? What is your favorite TV show now? What was your favorite show when you were a child? What are the most popular TV shows in your country? Do you like watching TV shows from other countries? Has the internet affected your viewing habits? How many hours a day do you spend watching television? Do you think children in your country watch too much television? Do you think television is useful for education in schools? Volunteer works. Have you ever worked before? What was your first day at work like? Have you participated in any volunteer work? Why did you do the volunteer work? Do you know any volunteers? How do you define volunteer work? Weather. How is the weather today? What's your favorite kind of weather? Is there any type of weather you really don't like? What is the climate like in your country? Does the weather affect people's lives in your country? Do people change in the summer? Does bad weather ever affect transport in your country? Tell me about the weather in your country at different times of the year. Which time of the year did you enjoy the most when you were a child? Do you, usually, pay attention to weather forecasts? Has the weather changed much in your country in recent years? What's the weather usually like in your country, or your hometown? How is the weather here different from the weather in your home country? Would you say the weather in your hometown is suitable for working, or studying? Would you like to move to a place with different weather? Does the weather affect the way that you feel? Do people like the weather in your country? Do the kinds of outside activities people do in your country change when the weather changes? Work. Do you have a job right now? Do you enjoy your job? What responsibilities do you have at work? What is your typical day like at work? What would you change about your job? What job do you think you will be doing in 5 years? What skills and qualifications are required for this job? Do you get on well with your co-workers? Are there good work opportunities in your home country? Writing. Do you enjoy writing? What age do children normally learn to write in your country? Did you write a lot when you were a child? Do you ever write letters? Do you prefer writing letters or sending emails?